money doesn't necessarily always buy happiness, but it certainly buys choices. Today, we've probably done about 300,000 different banner ads. We can buy the unit for 15 to 20 bucks. We can sell it for $150 to $500. Then you can sell confidently because now you're bulletproof. Like, you have to understand what problem you solve. People buy solutions, but we're not relying just solely on AI because a robot doesn't know what I'm feeling this second. I have a course I can give everybody totally for free.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Entrepreneurs Warrior Show. This is the officially new episode of the Entrepreneurs Warrior Show. So I'm really excited for today's episode because we have today's super awesome guest with us. He is a founder of Custom Creatives. He is a 2 Comma Club winner. He has helped brands such as Realtor.com, Advertise.com reach locals and thousands of local businesses. His mission is to help entrepreneurs get out of their own way to moving from an unsustainable do it all mentally and doing to building a rockstar team that gives them the ability to create an assembly line in their business. He is helping entrepreneurs to get more quality leads for their small and mid-sized companies or advertising agencies. He is hosting a podcast and did interview with lots of great entrepreneurs, including Billy Jean, Josh Forty, and all. So without further ado, let's have Rahul on the stage. Hi, Rahul. Thank you so much
Nilesh.
for
Thanks for having me. This is going to be an exciting one. Number 51 and the first one of the new year.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's a 51st episode. Last year on 29th, we hit 50 episode on the show. Thank you so much for becoming a 51 guest. Could you share a little bit about yourself, your backstory, how you got started? So there's a people who have no idea about you.
Yeah, and it's like a rags to riches story, if you will, in the sense of like I used to be a soccer player, and that was my whole dream, was to play sports. And when that dream kind of vanished, I wasn't allowed to. You know, the education system. I'm Indian, you're Indian. Parents want you to go to college, so I ended up going to school. Played soccer every day. Didn't do very well in school. Then I got injured, so that kind of started. That was an important part of the entrepreneurial journey because I knew something took it away from me, and it was more mental than it was physical. But then it forced me to use those same skills, those same habits of being an athlete and using that tenacity to go into business. So I was not a salesperson. I didn't talk. I was very shy. Like a lot of you guys out there, very timid. Like I didn't like to order my own fast food until I was like 17 years old. I was that shy, like going through a drive-through. So ultimately, I got a job, and the job was in sales, and I was forced to make cold calls, and I'd never done that before. And my first week sat there as if the phone was £1,000,000. I kind of studied and told myself, hey, you're not ready, even though we had the scripts, we had the training, we had like 20, 30 people around me talking on the phones all day, every day. And then finally some guy came up to me and said, hey man, if you're not going to make calls, you're not going to make money. If you're not going to make money, you should quit. And that moment changed. I'm like, all right, winners do it now, because they were all hungry people. They're all young. They wanted to make money, buy nice cars, buy houses. So that kind of inspired and motivated me to be good at communication. I didn't last very long at the position because I ended up quitting. I didn't like selling credit card machines. So I ended up working at a real estate advertising company called Realtor.com. And that's really where I honed in my skills. I only spent a little over a year there, close to 2 years there. But I learned so much about corporate life and discipline and metrics and KPIs, which I didn't know what they were. And the simple thing was like, I learned that when I left the company to go do my own thing, I realized I was working much harder on my own. Like I was working probably like 50 to 60 hours a week for corporate. But then when I went off on my own, I was probably working like 18, 19 hours per day for myself. Now, what I see a lot of younger entrepreneurs do is the exact opposite. They go from a disciplined environment where there's metrics. You have to be deadline driven. You have to be on time to work. You have to take your lunch at a very specific time. You have 2 15-minute breaks. But then when you go off on your own, you don't have an agenda. You wake up and you're like, what do I do? You know what I mean? So that's where I kind of help people change that mentality, is that we're crazy enough to trade a 9 to 5 to work for a 24/7 in entrepreneurship. But I had a clear vision. The number one, and I'm just going to go into like the beginning stages just so people know, because I think it was by mistake or it was by something I must have learned. I'm not sure at this point. It could have been just subconscious. But I went into, when I left Realtor.com, I worked with a lot of realtors, And I found a gap of what we were offering to what they actually needed that could be complementary. So my mindset was thinking, if I can offer this service to these real estate agents and they like it, then I can tell the salespeople to refer me. So when we were selling products, they were fantastic, but then the clients didn't know how to use them. So I started saying, hey, well, I'll be your virtual assistant to master the realtor.com marketing system. So I started polling the clients and whatnot. They loved it. They're like, I didn't know I could pay somebody for that. So then I polled enough people where I was ready to quit. So when I quit, I called all those people and I took payment. So out the gates, I already had built my pipeline of value. I had the niche and the service. Now, here's where we pivot. The niche, the service sucked because it was a lot of work and I was undercharging. And then I realized I got a call from one of the existing clients saying, hey, can you design this graphic for me? And naturally I said, yes, that's exactly what I do, even though I didn't do any of it. So I had to understand what it is that they're buying from me. I came up with a price on the spot because I didn't know what to charge. And I didn't want to sound like a typical person, like, well, let me give you a quote. Well, it's going to take me 3 hours. I charge 50 an hour, so it's 150. I said flat rate, unlimited revisions. And so you're absolutely 100% satisfied. You're going to have my direct line to call me anytime. And best of all, I'm going to write the copy for you. So I ended up designing banner ads. Little did I know that was going to be the golden goose that lays all the eggs. Fast forward to today, we've probably done about 300,000 different banner ads. Yeah, so it all started from like having such a small niche in originally it was in real estate, but then we had a niche of a niche in the product set because all we did graphic design. We're not graphic designers either. We're just entrepreneurs. We hired the graphic designers as contractors because we knew it was abundance of designers and we knew it was easy to outsource and we knew that it was cheap to outsource it. We can buy the unit for 15 to 20 bucks. We can sell it for $150 to $500. So the margins were high. And that's what we scaled up. We stayed laser focused on saying, hey, why offer more when this is working and when this is easy? And it doesn't take a lot of, like, it takes systems. It doesn't take a lot of effort. It was chaos at first because we had no systems. We were writing stuff on pieces of paper. We were emailing them, taking pictures. And then we made it like very automated back when we first started. But that's kind of how I got my journey started was just focusing on the banner ads. And luckily enough, it got our foot in the door with big companies where Realtor.com, the company I quit, ended up hiring me and giving me a raise because they didn't give me a raise while I worked there. The raise was through becoming their marketing agency, designing all the banner ads, writing all the copy, making all the landing pages, and essentially creating all of the funnels for their number one product for a publicly traded company. And that spawned into building the relationships with like advertise.com, Reach Local, Geico, and some pretty big brands. And one thing I want to kind of highlight while I kind of ramble on this topic is it led me from the foot in the door product and service, which was the pain point, the need that they needed, to being able to build the relationship and then letting them know what else I did. And that letting them know what else I did is the ascension model. Hey, did you know we can also do this if it ever arises? Do you think that could ever be a need now or in the future? That led to people buying our other services like advertise.com. I used to joke around with a lot of people saying, how cool is it that for advertise.com, we do their advertising, their website, their SEO, their consulting when they needed us. So we got to send people up, but I found that angle, that pain. I was willing to say, hey, I'm going to take a small slice today to have the enchilada down the road.
This is crazy, completely crazy. 300,000 banner ads. It is insane.
Yeah, because like think of a banner ad. Like, I mean, it doesn't mean go out and start doing banner ads unless you have the audience, because it takes a lot of hard work. I cold called till my fingers didn't want to dial anymore every single day. Like in the morning was all like from 8 in the morning or even earlier, depending on the time zone. Like I would traditionally time it for New York or East Coast. I never really called overseas because I'm in the US. I didn't call UK or any other English speaking countries, but focused on like from New York all the way back to Hawaii. So I'm in California, so it's the midpoint. So it's like 5 a.m. here is 8 a.m. there. And then once it becomes 8 p.m. here, it's 5 p.m. in Hawaii. So I still had all these daylight hours. And then when it wasn't money time, where I wasn't like hustling, grinding, making calls, emails, follow-ups, text messages, all that outbound money making activities, in the nighttime, I was building my list. So I was contacting, who do I want to target the next day? Who do I need to follow up with the next day? Because I looked at it as, if I want to make money, I need to associate my activities to make money. And then if somebody said yes to me, every yes was $150 up front. And if I had 10 yeses lined up, that's 1,500 a day. If I had 20, that's 3,000. So I kind of associated the initial cash collected. But then what if they took my upsell? What if they said, hey, it's 150 for one, but if you buy 4 in advance, I'll give you the 5th free. So we started to get a little creative on packages, where we just realized, hey, instead of like selling them a whole different service, why not just sell them the same thing they're going to need anyways and make our lives easier?
Wow. I am also a shy and introvert person, and my first ever job was sales. I was selling home loan, so I know like what kind of effort we have to put as a salesman. And when we are completely beginner in that zone, I totally understand. And thank you so much for sharing tons of golden nugget and your backstory, like your how you hustle hard and you grind yourself to make it possible. That's all your journey is. Super awesome. Thank you for this. You are helping entrepreneurs to get more quality leads for their business. Can you share some insights on how entrepreneurs can get quality leads for their business? You just mentioned like you in the evening you are setting up a list, and so how you are actually getting a quality leads?
So I'll there's two different audiences we have. Number one is our agency, where we work with businesses where they can hire us and we do done for you marketing. The second side is our coaching business, where we teach like marketers, coaches how to build their own agencies. So it's like a assembly line kind of layout, so they don't do all the work themselves. We kind of piece them their business over the course of a year. So when it comes to both audiences, it's simple. Number one, we have to be confident in what we do. Like, what are we good at, or what can we be good at outsourcing? Number two is the niche. We have to be niche oriented in the beginning, and then we can go broad later once we get some level of success and mastery. And you'll realize once you niche down and you become the category king or queen, you may not want to switch at that point. Because too many people are switching. They're trying for a week, they're trying for 3 months and quitting. This takes a lot of hard work, a lot of focus, a lot of attention, because you have to put in the work. Kind of like when you're a newborn, you're a baby. It takes boys 18 to 24 months to walk, right? Now think about learning how to run a marketing business where you can make wild amounts of money from anywhere in the world, and you don't have to have roots in an office. So you have to put in that desire, that patience, and that time. So that's important, because I have to say that to whoever's listening. It is going to be hard work. Luck doesn't happen unless you're prepared. The second part is we got the offer, we got the niche, and then now it's about getting the traffic and the incoming and the outbound leads. So we look at our sources. Where are our customers hanging out? Are they on Yelp? Are they on Google? Are they on Facebook? Are they on Instagram? Are they on TikTok, YouTube? Are they on all of it? Then we have to go in, what if they're on all of it, where do we start? You can start with cold DMing if you wanted to, and hit people up on IG and Facebook, because that's really easy to do. Come in with massive amounts of value. Don't be that guy selling shit because no one's buying your stuff. I'll tell you that right now. If you come at me in my DMs and want to sell me emails, what I expect from you is already do the emails. Saying, hey, you don't know me, I don't know you, but I wrote your backstory, and I thought this would be super cool that you put on your LinkedIn bio. That would catch my attention. You have to do the fucking work in the beginning, then you're going to catch the attention, and then you leverage my network. That's what I did pretty well early on, is I'd find somebody of influence, I'd do some free work for them, and then I would leverage their network and earn their business the good old-fashioned way, value for value. Now, when it comes to my first intuition, because I'm used to it, is if I was starting a company, or I had a restaurant, or it doesn't really matter what it is, I would do a lot of outbound calling just to get the community to know who I am. Like if it was a restaurant, I would contact other like office buildings and saying, "Hey, we're located here. I'd love to give you some appetizers if you can bring in your team for lunch. I'd love to meet you in person, connect with my community, and hopefully you can come back for our tasty food." So I would do some grassroots, old school outreach coupled with taking advantage of what we have in front of us. It's the greatest advertising age ever. You don't have to do direct mail. You don't have to do TV. You don't have to do billboards and spend tens of thousands of dollars for not knowing a return. You can spend hundreds to a couple $1,000s on Facebook, on Instagram, and be able to attract your ideal leads. Now, a lot of you guys are marketers and experiencing customers that are not having success with lead generation. It comes down to your offer. It goes right back down to the basics. How good is your offer? How are you going to incentivize people to take that next action when we know one thing to be true, maybe a few things to know to be true? They don't know you, they don't like you, they don't trust you. How do you change that perception, knowing that in advance that your copy is that important? Having a really good advertisement. And if you look at today's advertisements, I've just been paying attention to how aggressive people are getting on their advertising. I will get you to $10,000 in recurring revenue, or I work for free. Give me 16 weeks, right? So 10 grand a month is $120,000 a year. Chances are that person trying to help is going to be charging anywhere between $7,000 and $15,000, and they're willing to work for free if the entrepreneur on the other side fails. Orange Theory Fitness. If you don't like their workouts, you get your money back after 30 days. 7-Eleven. Convenience stores getting in on the party of risk reversals. If you don't like their coffee, they'll just give you your money back. So they're incentivizing people to not be lazy, to stop sitting on the fucking sidelines. Don't be that lazy person that says, "Poor me," the victim side. People are going out of their way to say, "Hey, I will pay you back. I will work with you for free to get the result you've always envisioned." So I think having that risk reversal and aggressive offer is super duper helpful, because then you can sell confidently. You feel good when you go to bed. You feel good when you wake up. You're more confident in the person you're talking to, because now you're bulletproof. You already know the shit you do already works. So you take that mentality to your marketing, you go to the marketplace, and you'll have a much easier way to be able to close a hell of a lot more people.
Man, that's insane level of advices you just shared, and you nailed it. You work with realtor.com as a salesman, salesperson, cold calling. The thing that you just shared with us, do more cold calling. Your offer is something that if your offer is really great, people buy it. But most of the time, when everything is good for people, they don't have courage to sell the product. They are not feeling confident for themselves, for their own product. Is there anything that you find why they are not feeling too much confident, or how they can develop a confidence?
Yeah, I think it's a matter of focus, because a lot of people who are not confident in their offer have too many offers. Like one day they're thinking, I feel good about Facebook ads, something doesn't go their way that day. Then they're like, "Oh, I just saw an ad for TikTok and it's the next big thing." So then they start to lean into TikTok, then they start to lean into funnel building, then they start to lean into Chat GPT. Like they just move and move and move and never get good at anything. Because that's why it's like, if people literally said, "All right, I'm going to focus on," just like a child takes 18 to 24 months to even learn how to walk. It doesn't mean you return the baby if the fucker can't work after 16 weeks. At 16 weeks years old, we'd all be dead, right? Every parent would be returning children if that were the case. So my point is, things take time. So if you took the time to put 1 year, and heck, if you just put 2 years in to one thing to master, think about where you'd be. You'd be the top of the top of the top in your category, and you'd be making more money. The problem is people want to make the money in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. They're trying to catch a trend and a fad versus just master something that's going to be here for a long period of time. Now, if you do the time and do the hard work and do the patience, then you're going to make a lot of money. But then what ends up happening is what you described is people just jumping and jumping and jumping. And then instead of that 2 year mark, now we're at 10 years and we're no better than we were when we started.
Definitely, that's so true. Instead of changing your niche, changing your offer, changing your product, just stick with one thing and you are going to rock it.
Yeah,
right?
and find the problem, right? Because like you have to understand what problem you solve. People buy solutions to problems, right? Like if I need to get from point A to point B, I have a problem. I don't have a vehicle. I need to go buy one. So now I have to go in the marketplace and see what's out there. And then I want a deal. Maybe it's a deal on the car I like, and maybe it's a deal on the service. Like I want to buy the car, but I want service included for a year or two. So if somebody incentivizes me with that, I would go with something maybe not in that's perfect for me, but it's perfect for what I want long game, right? So I think that's one of the most important things is really kind of honing in on the skill of finding the problem, because you're going to have problems every day in your business, period. In case you didn't know that, you will have something prop up. We just want to eliminate as many as possible that we can control, and then we'll deal with the unknowns later and deal with them as they come and go. But the one thing is, like with me, like we were selling like crazy the banner ads. We were selling like crazy, like our coaching program. We ran into bottlenecks. We ran into clients not responding to us fast enough. Clients saying, "Hey, who are you? I didn't realize I paid you." Clients running into us saying, "I hate your banner ad. I don't even want the revision." So we're like confident in the offer. Then we're like, "Oh fuck, are we doing this right? Are we doing this correctly? Why are people not liking our stuff?" But then we had to have the mentality of like, well, one out of every 200 or one out of every 150, we're not that satisfied. That's a pretty good ratio. Now we're okay dealing with those bad apples. It doesn't whack our confidence in the head. Now, when you don't have clients and you come out of the gate with negative reviews or whatnot, don't give up. Find the solution. That's okay. Look at it as a positive, because then you just have to make that the norm. Because I take like negative feedback as a norm. It's not me getting jealous of the other person giving me and expressing their feelings. It's me getting like a free opportunity to hear their feedback, to hear what their perception is, because something we could do can remedy that. Maybe they misinterpreted something. Maybe I misinterpreted something. Then I can use that as training. So I look at every feedback as a positive feedback, because if somebody compliments me, I already expected that to happen. Like that doesn't help me improve. Do I like it? Yeah, it feels good when you get a compliment in business and in life. But when people give me like constructive criticism, whether it's like attacking me, that's good, or if it's like polite, that's good, because that's where I actually improve. Because your failures are really where you get the feedback and innovation from. But if you're constantly getting like, oh, you're this is good, this is good, this is good. I mean, it's great for business. It feels good that you're doing something good for confidence, but it's not going to help you. It's going to get you a little complacent. So it's kind of weird to hear, but I love the negative feedback, because that allows me to train, allows me to move, it allows me to innovate. The positive feedback just gives me a little bit of an ego boost.
Man, that's true. Negative feedback is actually help us to improve our product, and that's insane level of advice right now. So, Rahul, you are in business from last to 16 years, and what kind of major changes have you seen, which might in the industry is positive changes, negative changes? Is there any specific changes you
Um,
see?
the biggest change that I've seen, other than obviously there's new platforms and there's new innovations in technology, I think it's easier to adapt once you've got the core foundations right. It's easier to kind of go from like Google ads to Facebook ads to YouTube ads to Instagram to now leveraging like Jasper to Chat GTP, all those different things make it a lot easier to kind of fluidly kind of go once you kind of have those core foundations. But one bigger change I think is there's a lot more competition. There's no barrier to entry. There's a more level of a playing field than ever, because I think a lot of people are not going to be going to finish school, so they're going to be competing. They're going to be in the personal influencer space. They're going to be in the marketing space. They're going to be competing against people who have been here, done that for a long period of time, like myself. So I think it's going to get saturated. But with saturation, it also allows for people to be the top of the top and open the gap of their competition much better. And it comes down to two things. There's going to be people who are interested in being really good, and then there's going to be people who are committed to being really good. Interested people will just have one foot in the water and the other foot out, and they'll fuck around and they'll never be committed. They'll say, I'll do it later. Oh, I did part of it today. I'll do part tomorrow. I'll reward myself. That's just kind of going to be lackluster. So we need those people. We need lazy people, because then the people who are committed, they're going to take the action. They're going to make the big bucks. They're going to be the top of the top. So that's kind kind of where I think it's going to be advantageous for people to take action, and just really commit to mastery, versus just be interested in it.
Awesome. That's insane. Committed people are somebody who is ready to take action, and the people interested who they are just okay. I think I can do, and they might be ended up with doing nothing. They just tell that yes, I am interested to do something, and but they are not. Uh, yeah. You want to say
Yeah, I mean,
something?
speaking of that, for example, think about the game of golf, for example. Like I just heard a Tony Robbins story just the other day, and it's something I've heard maybe like 10 years ago because it's a pretty old story. But the game of golf, like I actually just went out and played. One of my friends is a coach, and I haven't played in 15 years. So I'm out there whacking the ball. Since I saw the Tony Robbins story, it reminded me of this situation because it was golf, and I'm just whacking the ball like kind of like Happy Gilmore, just running up to it, hitting it, balls going left, balls going right. But then I started to concentrate, and then it started to get a little straighter. It was still going all over the place, not where I actually intended it to go. But then I started focusing on my form, and then the golf coach came over. His name's Ross, and kind of adjusted my swing a little bit. Then it started going straighter and straighter. And then all of a sudden he gives me a Nerf football and he puts it right in between my arms. And he's like, come back and don't let the ball drop. So it was forcing me to keep my form. And when I kept my form, the ball went straight. And this happened in a period of maybe 20, 30 balls. So it wasn't like multiple coaching sessions. This was like after not playing and just swinging. So I was just amazed. I was like, what the fuck? Like, how the hell did you teach? You're a great instructor. And he's like, no, you had the mechanics. You were just slightly off. And that's what a lot of people are out there, is that they have the mechanics. They're just slightly off. And you need somebody like a mentor, a coach. You need to pay them. You need to invest in yourself, invest into your education, your wealth, in improving those little millimeters of change. So I think that's really, really important for people to understand, is that, you know, when you feel like this far you are from success, people are going to YouTube. Those are the people that need to go to a mentor that's already been doing that and been there, done that. YouTube, like if I wanted to play tennis, I'm not going to watch Roger Federer on YouTube. I'm going to go get a tennis coach, right? So take that same thing to your business and take it a little bit more serious, because other people are, and they're just going to crush you. That's really kind of my perspective on how valuable like investing in myself is. And the people that have worked with us, they value investing in themselves, which we all appreciate, because I mean, look at what college has done. It's just a fucking scam. People are spending $250,000 for nothing. And then you can get those skills in 16 weeks to 52 weeks and be at the top of your game.
That's insane. Yeah, definitely, because uh, it is a cost of opportunity. You might be invest a lot of your time, or you feel demotivated that nothing is happening. But if you go and join any mentor, you are investing in yourself. You are save your a lot of time, and you are
Mm-hmm.
able to observe the more great things in your life in less than period of time. If you just instead of you are just investing uh, on YouTube and all the stuff, right? Super awesome, golden nugget, I can say it is. And personal development is something first you have to develop yourself first, and then go out and serve somebody else. This is something also required, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's okay to like screw up all the time, because that's what we get paid to do, is explore. We're marketing people, we're creatives. We have to come up with solutions. But if you can get the blueprint and get ahead, go ahead and do that. So I'm not saying hire us, because we're not the right solution for every single person. We may be for some, but we help people in our agency world get marketing agencies, because if we've already closed big companies like realtor.com and even like the small hair salons, we know the formula of how to get there. Kind of like Chipotle and McDonald's and Chick-fil-A, they have a formula that already works, where it's like, here's the blueprint, now go do it. It just makes things a lot more clear. Kind of like if I go drive somewhere that I'm not familiar with, I'm going to turn my maps on my phone. I'm not going to go and drive and stop at every gas station and ask for directions, right? It's just going to get me to the destination a little bit more inefficiently, slower, and not logically. And that's why I wholeheartedly am a hardcore investor into number one, myself, because I believe in myself. If I don't invest in myself, nobody else should. Number two is I do the work, right? And that's what I want everybody to really kind of commit to, is really that commitment to your future. And if it's not for yourself, look at your children in their eyes and say, hey, I'm committed to making this work, committed to the legacy, committed to providing for the family, committed to retiring at 40 or 50 years old so I can spend time and more time with my family and loved ones. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, money doesn't necessarily always buy happiness, but it certainly buys choices that you can do fun and cool shit with.
So true. Money doesn't buy happiness, but it buy choices that can actually make you too much happy. That's really,
Yeah, you can have a lot more fun.
yeah. So we are already entered into 2023. So is there any new updates or changes that coaches and agency owner have to keep in their mind so they can grow their business further more?
Yeah, I mean, if there's any changes, I mean, I would say like the main things that we focus on. I'll just tell you what we're focused on. We're doing a lot of content collaborations with other people, so we can like cross reference each other's audiences. We're doing more and more paid ads. We're using AI in our content, but we're not relying just solely on AI, because a robot doesn't know what I'm feeling this second, doesn't know like that I hurt
Emotional.
my, yeah, it doesn't know I tore my ACL and that was a pivotal moment in my in life and business and decision making. So we're going to definitely be leveraging what's available to us. We'll be doing some influencer collaborations because we're marketers and we're creatives, and we're going to consolidate down to our products and services on what we truly not only enjoy but is highly profitable for us. So that's kind of like the advice I have. But for the audience, like, is there a lot of digital marketers inside the Facebook group? Because like I have a course I can give everybody totally for free,
Wow.
if that's cool. It's the
Please.
yeah, it's the Agency Foundations 2.0. We offer it for free. It's at actually it's if you go to joingsd.com/group, you'll answer a few questions, drop your email, and then we'll DM you the link to be able to register. And this is called Foundations for a reason, and it works for whether you're experienced or you're just getting started. It does not, quite frankly, matter, because we're sharing content of 16 plus years of experience, from like the foundations of like getting the niche and the offer right. And if you've already got that down, then we move into traffic, then we move into sales, and then we move into paid expansion, paid traffic. So it's pretty comprehensive. It's about 11 videos, like on demand Netflix style videos that you guys can have as my gift to you guys for having me on this podcast, on this Facebook live stream.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'll drop the link in the description after the interview. So, guys, you can check it out. So, you just mentioned influencer collab, and you are also hosting an interview show, and you did a great interview with quite a great influencer like Billie Jean, Josh Watty. So, what do you think? Does entrepreneurs to have to host their interview show or not? What's your
I
thought?
mean, it's what you want to do with your time. I think everybody has the time. I think having those influencer collaborations and interviews are important because everybody learns something, not only you, but then the audience as well. Number two is you have more content that you can use, because like this interview, for example, you can chop this up into reels. You can use squares. You can put it on YouTube. You can create a blog out of it. You can take audio bites and make sound bites out of it. You can put it onto a podcast. You can send it through an email. You can use it on your stories. I mean, like, think about this one. We're about 35 minutes in. Think about how much different content you can probably come up with. 40 pieces of content just from this. So I think yes, the answer is yes. Is it gives you different perspectives, because that's how I interview people, and have had the like bigger names than a lot of people I know have interviewed. Like, I've had the CEO of Sony Home Entertainment Group, Jim Cathcart, some legends in sales and marketing and leadership that I've interviewed, and I've learned so much just from those people. Where not only was it just the interview, it creates a personal relationship. And then it creates from a personal relationship to an actual true friendship. And then it could lead to business.
Yes, definitely. So many collaboration and so many new opportunities, doors for new opportunities, we can say.
Hmm.
Right? Awesome.
Exactly.
Guys, so we are here for a few more minutes. If you have any question, you can drop in the chat box. And what is the three skill entrepreneurs, specifically digital marketer or coaches, have to learn so they grow their in their life?
This skill set number one is absolute concentration. Like you have to be laser focused on one thing and be masterful at it. Don't let anything get off your game. Your family, your friends, everybody, just stay laser focused. Kind of like the airplane analogy. If the airplane's going down, you put your own mask on your face, then you take care of other people. Same thing with your business. Stay laser fucking focused. Number two is if you're starting out of your home and it's just you, or you're the main person to bring in business, get really good at sales. Practice it every day, role play it every day. Practice the first words that are going to come out of your mouth. Think of like the first words as your hook on an ad, right? Or they're going to like you or hate you if it's cold outreach. They're going to think of you as an authority or not based on your first impression to them and how polished you sound. Because I've had people cold call me that don't know shit about their own product. So those people are not going to get my time or attention, or they sound too pushy, or they're overstepping their boundaries. They're not respectful. So master sales, because when things are good, sales above all else. When things are bad, sales above all else. And then number three, I would say number three would be kind of, for me personally, is just leadership, the ability to hire and get things done when you want them, how you want them, because it's your business. So having like an organized way to have SOPs. I'll just wrap that around the skill set of leadership. Because if I'm paying somebody, I want things done when I want them, and I want to create my production line, my assembly line, because that's how I grew up and how I seen very successful businesses. And it doesn't mean it's like a military sergeant. It just means you have to have that influence, not just on influencing your clients to work with you and persuading them to want their own dreams and goals, but then also taking that into leadership to be able to persuade your own staff, and persuade your own contractors to be available and loyal and work hard, go above and beyond.
Yeah,
So focus, sales, leadership.
definitely that's great. And sales is something that drive your business, that drive your blood, lifeblood for your business, right? So we have
Exactly.
one question from audience, which is from Abhinandan. What is the best advice you would give to your younger self?
Be relentless, because at the end of the day you grow into it, and you could have just done it from the beginning. Because you get so self-conscious, you're starting to think, what do they think of me? Will they like me? Will they like this offer? Will they? But then it's also illogical, because how will you know if you don't go after it? So when you see an opportunity, go after it. That's probably the number one thing I would do differently. And a number two thing would be, and I wasn't smart enough to do this, even though I was told to do this. I probably screwed this up too much. Is I never got a number two until way later. I always took the responsibility on my shoulders to be the guy that was the leader, the main guy. So I would have got a number two in command much faster once we started to make money, pay somebody really well to run the whole damn thing for me, and then me just focus on one category of the business, which would be business development and sales, which ended up becoming what I started to be very good at. So I had to do all the operations, the interviews, the hiring. I kind of micromanaged too much. So that would probably be it. Number one, be relentless as early as possible, explore new things, go after what you want to go after. And then number two is, once you're ready to hire somebody really good that can either grow into becoming your number two, or just be a key player early on to take a lot of the responsibility and stress off you.
Definitely go relentless and hire somebody who can help you to become the person you want to become. Insane.
Hmm.
Thank you so much, Rahul, for joining us on the show. And it's really glad to have you on the show. You share lots of golden nuggets. Where do people can find you?
Yeah, just hit me up on Facebook or Instagram. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/Rahul Alim 805. And then on Instagram, it's just my name, Rahul Alim. So hit me up on one of those platforms. Feel free to DM me. I can get you the free course as well that way too. And we'll be able to connect on social.
Awesome. Thank you. And before we wrap up the show, any three advice for entrepreneurs from you?
Three more. So now we're gonna go for six. I would say because it's the beginning of the year, I would write down what is going to be what word or phrase is going to resemble your year, so it holds you accountable. Like if
Mm,
on my Facebook wall, I have a quote that my dad used to always say, "Winners do it now." So anytime I feel lazy, like every time I'm like, I'll do that email later, it's boom, that just goes in my head. Fuck that. There is no later. Now is now. So anything I do, if I don't want to go to the gym and I feel a little tired, fuck that. Winners do it now because everybody's gone to the gym tired. I'm sure everybody in there is tired. If there's a 85-year-old walking on the fucking treadmill, I can walk my ass in there and get a good workout in. So that just kind of is implanted in me. And my word of 2023 for myself, and it was primarily just for my team, but also for myself to kind of revisit, is concentrate. Because the more
mm,
concentrated you are, the more focused you are, the more you're going to accomplish in a week than you will all year. The more you get distracted and have 35 fucking Google Chrome tabs open and can't get one job done in 2 hours when it should take 3 minutes, then you know you've lost concentration. So concentrate is my word. So it can kind of it'll get subliminal. It'll be just knee-jerk reaction. You're fucking around, concentrate. You're not doing it now, winners do it now, right? So it's kind of like word association.
man, winners do it now. That is literally an insane quote that I hear because many times what happened, like, okay, I don't have to do it, but winners do it now. I also have to put this quote in front of my eyes. Thank you for
Mm-hmm.
this sharing. There's one question. Can we take? Are we not running from time?
Yeah, we have a time for another question.
Okay. Yeah. What's your biggest learning in life?
That's deeper than I thought it would be in life. I mean, I think we just have to look at the resources we have available. Like we obviously have our health, we have our wealth, and then we have our relationships. I talk about personal imbalance early on, perfect imbalance. I didn't hang out with family, didn't hang out with friends, only focused on wealth as number one because I wanted to free up time. And then I focused on health as my second. So I was kind of imbalancing things. And then I was getting back to balance. Like right now, I'm more balanced. I have good wealth, health, and relationships. So I think understanding your personal like structure in those three wheels, those three categories, is just it's okay to be in balance. But the biggest learning lesson I think I would say is be more decisive, take more risks. Because like when I can't get back 30 minutes ago, but I can always make more money. We just have to have that in mind because I think too many people put fear above success, and it should be success up here and fear way down here. That's the big problem, is that people are too skeptical and not betting on themselves. And I think that decisiveness is what leaders make. And if you're not a leader, you can't make decisions. And if you want to become a leader, you have to be able to make decisions. They're calculated risks. You are going to lose sometimes, but you're going to win. You're betting on yourself. So that's probably my biggest advice. Is there's probably risks I didn't take that I should have earlier on that cost me more money, because if something would have cost me $20,000 in, let's say, 2015, and I didn't invest it, but then I look back and I'm like, fuck, a year later, had I done that, I could have been way further ahead. What the fuck is wrong with me? Because I can always make more money. I can't get that year back. So that's kind of where I think a lot of people, that's probably the biggest learning lesson in life, because I sure as hell know when I'm going to be on my deathbed, taking my last breath, I'm not going to say, I wish I had more money. I'm going to say, I wish I had more time.
That is, you nailed it, and you just mic drop at here. Thank you for sharing this, and thank you so much, Abhinandan, for asking this insane question. Thanks a lot. So thank you so much, everybody, and thank you so much, Rahul, once again for joining us on the Entrepreneurs Warrior Show. And I'm sharing all the link in the description. Go and check it out. And thanks a lot. Have a great day.